Digital media ecosystem, a core component analysis according to expert judgment. The main purpose of this paper is to identify the elements and resources to establish a digital media ecosystem to increase the effectiveness of business strategies. We have conducted a systematic literature review of digital media, including the following elements: website, social, paid search advertising, mobile, adaptive SEO, inbound marketing, social media, and email CRM. Also, this study included the validation by some experts in the area of digital media marketing. The keywords are social media marketing, social media analytics, digital marketing, and inbound marketing. As a quick introduction, I would like to say that small and medium enterprises, SMEs, play an important role in the economy of different countries. In this case, specifically Ecuador in South America. And SMEs contribute to increasing the GDP of the manufacturing sector, and also they have this flexibility to expand and downsize according to market behavior, as well as they constitute a rich source of employment due to especially the low levels of industrialization and automation that allows them to generate multiple jobs. Also, it's important to mention that the highest benefit that SMEs receive when entering a digital world is the contribution of new strategies that will help management. In that regard, nowadays, during these years of COVID-19 pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, contemporary topics such as social development, policies to reduce poverty, plans to increase sustainable production occur thanks to the use of new information and communication technologies. In that regard, the development of SMEs in Ecuador in the recent years shows that 67% of Ecuadorian SMEs invested in digital technology, especially regarding laptops, 98% of them, and also smartphones, 24% of them. For this study, the research question is the following: what are the interacting elements necessary to exploit a digital transformation strategy? So digital marketing is a structural set of applications and marketing strategies executed in digital media. This concept has evolved from product-based marketing 1.0 to consumer-centric marketing 2.0, advancing to marketing 3.0 focused on values and social causes, to the most recent marketing 4.0 that combines traditional marketing, digital media, and artificial intelligence for maximum customer loyalty. Similarly, the internet enabled the rapid evolution of digital advertising with new tools and challenges, including search engine marketing, brand positioning, email marketing, and the possibility of proper user tracking through web analytics. In the past, we had what we called Web 1.0, Web 1.0, which became widespread and integrated. And that was the time that we used noisy modems different from the ones that we use today. Searching for information was a slow, complex process. And the first engine was that time Google, and later the appearance of Bing as well. Then Web 2.0 is a method of using the internet with a more dynamic structure, modern formats, and more functionalities. And not only can users of Web 2.0 access information, but they can also be content creators with different tools provided by the internet. In terms of design, Web 2.0 is based on web standards that make it usable, accessible, and efficient for everyone. You have in this slide here the key concepts related to the main themes that are explored in our study. As such, you can see these 8 different elements or themes that we identified for the study. Just general comments about them. I can say, for instance, that in a website context, the main target is not a mass audience. The most important factor is the number of end users that are attracted by the usability of web resources. Regarding search engines, there are specific websites. They constitute a fundamental tool for users who require some type of information. Web search service providers have long faced some conflicts over the sustainability of this activity as users seek free access to information. Also, we have social networks. The social network has become a means of interacting with users, sharing content, and attracting new followers. I can also say that the scope of mobile marketing actions is getting wider and wider, including all new web technologies such as those embedded in wearable devices and tablets. And last but not least, analytics. Analytics marketing is a concept that integrates data analysis on the internet to digital marketing. This data analysis is performed on digital attributes and user activities within a website or web application. This is a general overview of the elements that we identified for this study. In terms of the methodology that we used, this research was quantitative, non-experimental, and cross-sectional. The unit of analysis was composed of specialists who work in a dependent relationship with companies and also specialists who advise companies, sort of consultants. The digital, regarding the participants, we invited 273 professionals and coming from these different sectors to ensure representativeness of different industries. As you see here, from the education sector, textile manufacturing, footwear production, intermediary commerce or basic necessities and financial services. The data collection instrument that we use comprised 3 main elements. The first instrument was a structured questionnaire with the categories to be explored, the 8 categories identified before. Then the second instrument was a form to determine the knowledge of information coefficient in order to serve as a filter to select the best experts. And finally, the third instrument comprised 8 categories and 62 items valued via Likert scale of 5 levels of relevance. The data gathering procedure regarding the systematic literature review included the search strings with the specific terms that were aligned to the objectives of this research. And finally, for the data analysis, we use SPSS statistics version 25.0. In terms of the results of the study, starting with a systematic literature review, I would like to explain that we identified 924 articles that satisfied the inclusion criteria. And then the database of articles was subjected to a search for duplicates, and then we discarded 49% of them. In addition, we also analyzed those articles that were non-peer reviewed, and it was identified that 9% of them met these criteria and were therefore excluded. The next step was the review of the complete text of the articles, a full reading of all of them, and this allowed us to eliminate documents not aligned with the objectives of our research. A total of 27% of articles were discarded. Finally, publication dates were then examined, to rule out those articles older than 10 years old, excluding 74% of them. In conclusion, we came out with a total number of 82 articles that were organized to be studied. The second part shows here factor analysis that we conducted, and regarding this, the Chromebox alpha indicator presented a value of 0.891 in relation to the measures of all the elements of the digital media ecosystem, total of 62 items. In addition, when analyzing the reliability test with the elimination of items, it was observed that no item negatively affected the degree of consistency, since all of them exceeded the minimum value required. The Kaiser-Meyer-Olkin indicator of sampling adequacy showed a value of 0.879. This value allowed us to continue with the factor extraction process since it surpassed the minimum value required. Bartlett's test of sphericity, measured through the chi-square, yielded a value of 1644.521 with 20 degrees of freedom and a significance level of less than 0.05. And last but not least, the total variance explained was 73.47% of the behavior of the digital media ecosystem. Also, I'd like to mention that the factor loadings were all higher than 0.7, except for the social review sites, which presented a value of 0.687, which is close to the minimum required level. Finally, let me present the conclusions of this study. I like to start saying that the digital media ecosystem has been developed based on the criteria of the leading authors according to the scientific database Scopus, that was part of the systematic literature review, which was used to discover the existence of 8 fundamental categories that should be integrated in a digital marketing system. The general conclusion of the theoretical abstraction suggests the existence of 8 dimensions, namely, number 1, website, number 2, social, number 3, paid search advertising, number 4, mobile, number 5, adaptive SEO, number 6, inbound marketing, number 7, social media, number 8, email and CRM. And finally, I like to conclude saying that empirical validation, thanks to the participation of different experts, corroborates this relationship between the observable variables, the 62 items, in relation to the 8 latent variables just described above. And this concludes this study, the presentation of this paper entitled Digital Media Ecosystem, a core component analysis according to expert judgment. Thank you so much for your kind attention.